And now it takes us to our top 10. Our top 10 quarterbacks, which is a good time to stop down and talk about another quarterback who didn't make this list.
Yeah.
And he's the Super Bowl winning quarterback from last year, Tom Brady. Explain why. No, just kidding. He has made it into the top 10. Tom Brady has cracked the top 10 of the Chris Simms top 40 countdown.
That's right. Tom Brady, number 10, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Booyah. That's right, Tom. Put that trophy in everybody's face and say, screw you. Screw you, Chris Simms, for not having me in the top 10 for a while.
You had him 15 last year.
Yeah.
You had him 9 in 2019.
Right. And I think last year when we did the updated, Week 10 rankings, I had him right around 12 or 13, somewhere in there. It just, again, through 10 weeks last year, it wasn't exactly great all the time. We can't forget that. There was some games lost and some sloppy play that were definitely Tom Brady's fault. Now, listen, you give some wiggle room, I know. But we saw a different Tom Brady last year. We saw a different one. And anybody that's been listening to me, you know what I'm talking about here. Brady's arm's never been the question. The last few years in New England, you know my complaints about him. Unwillingness to stand in there in the pocket, take hits, do things to throw the ball down the field. Now, he had a great pass protection last year and, of course, had weapons and everything else. But to me, that's where he redefined himself. That's why they won the Super Bowl. Because he was willing to stand in there in the pocket and push the ball down the field. His arm is still a big-time arm. And they became a dangerous football team when he started to go, you know what, I will stand back here and pat the ball an extra time and throw it to throw a 40-yard rifle to Evans or hit, Miller on a deep go route or Gronk down the middle. And that's when they became really a Super Bowl contender. To me, it goes into that second half of the Atlanta game in Atlanta. I want to say it's around week 12 or 13, but they were losing 17-0 at half, and then they were never the same offense after. They came out in the second half, and they were like, let's just protect Brady, and let's throw the ball down the field. And they were never the same. And he caught on fire. His arm is still phenomenal. And listen, his talent, it's not as good as Ryan Tannehill or Justin Herbert. But as you've heard me say a lot of times through this year, I gave a little bit more to leadership and edge and things like that. Your team's belief because of you. That's where Brady's special. He's the greatest leader in the history of the sport. We've heard all the stories and all of that. But they believed even when things weren't good last year because of one guy. Because, hey, we still got him. He'll figure it out, and we'll come together and do all these type of things. So that's where, his throwing, his aggressive mindset, he's still awesome in the pocket. But the big thing to me more than anything is he played tougher. He just said, F you. I'm going to throw a rifle. I'm going to wait here. I'm going to take the hit and do that. And that's when they were dangerous, and that's when he was at his best. His arm is still top-notch in football. It's still a really great arm.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the more surprising things. We'll get into the deep passing in a second, but I think now is a good time to reemphasize what this list is all about for you, because you just said all those positive things about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And all people are going to look at, or some people are going to look at the 10 and be like, how is he not 2 or 3? He just went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and won them a Super Bowl in his first year, in a year where they didn't have a regular offseason. I mean, he could go to any team and instantly make them a Super Bowl contender.
That's not true.
So how is he not in the top 10? To reemphasize, what you're doing is taking every quarterback, putting them on an average team with average weapons, an average coach, and saying which one's going to win the most games.
Yes.
And you think there are 9 other quarterbacks who will win more games than Tom Brady.
I do. Yes, at this point of his career, I do. Yeah, but I mean, still, again, I don't know. I sit here and maybe I'm crazy, and most people think you're 43 and you're the 10th best quarterback in football. There's something to be said about that.
Exactly.
It's really impressive. I mean, it's
really
amazing.
Not more than impressive. Like unheard of, amazing, never been done before.
Never done. I don't think we're gonna ever see it again, at least for a while.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn how much sports science is out there right now. This is special. It really is. And again, like I said, there's guys behind him that have more talent. I know that. I'm giving him the advantage because of experience, leadership, the edge he brings to a football team, that belief and all that.
Value as a recruiter, too.
Exactly right. Right. So there's a lot of things there. You're exactly right. So I gave him the edge over those other guys. Yeah, what I'm telling you is some of the guys that are in front of him, I don't think his edge and experience makes up enough for me to put him in front of those guys. That's not a knock, but listen, hey, he makes very few plays off schedule, too, if we're going to hit on the negatives. There's very few. He still moves in the pocket well, but if nobody's open and the pocket's collapsed, the play's over. And there's, of course, quarterbacks in front of him where I go, oh, no, not the play's not over for these guys. In fact, it's watch the out. I bet you something good's going to happen. That's where it's like a different world now in football. But, man, still seeing the field well, still a good decision maker, adjusted his game to be more aggressive, a little tougher in the pocket, and really threw the ball as good as I've ever seen him throw it, especially the last 6-8 weeks of the year. I can think of that post down the middle in Atlanta to Michael Evans. I think he got down to the 1-yard line. He threw a 40-yard ball that was 6 feet off the ground the whole way. The touchdown that you've heard my dad wax poetically about in the Super Bowl, where he's in the pocket and he hits Gronk in the back right of the,
right.
That was off rhythm. The play was over. He had good protection. He just kind of hung in there. And I feel like old Brady would have been panicking and patting the ball and just throwing the ball away or been looking for the back. That's what we would have saw from 2019 Brady. That's why he was 15 for me. But last year he went, wait, down the field's not open. He didn't start flinching and doing that. He just went, wait, where's Gronk? I'm going to throw a rifle. Zoom, rifle in the back of the end zone. Perfect throw. So, man, I know people don't think I like him, but I do. He's a baller.
And I'll throw the flip side of it. He can't do that without a good offensive line.
No
right?
doubt.
So you
That's
put him
what-
on an
that's what
average
I'm
team
trying
with
to
a bad
say.
offensive line. You
Exactly
saw
right.
some of it in New England. All of a sudden, it's not
Let's
there.
just we talked about a little,
Which
and
is
again,
the danger. He didn't have.
I know you're right.
You don't want to crush it. Well, let me give you something positive.
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
before you get into maybe something more negative.
Well,
I know you don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't. I was just gonna say, what if you the Super Bowl? If we just switched the quarterbacks, what does everybody think would have happened?
Yeah.
Do you really think Brady would have been able to survive that onslaught of pressure
Great point.
and things like that and run around and even make the game semi-competitive? Like
Injuries
Patrick
on the
Mahomes.
offensive line for the Chiefs.
Yeah, right. Again, it's not a knock on Brady.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that. It's just where he is at his career at this point.
Because there were things that were surprising. You already touched on it.
Yeah.
The deep passing.
Ooh.
And there was a time in his career where it was like he's not going to be a good deep passer. And then you have last year where he was one of the better deep passers. Kristen, do we have that? Have we shown that already? Brady deep passing versus 2019 versus 2000.
I'm interested to see this.
And 20 to see how much better he was with Tampa than he was New England. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it right here. So more attempts with Tampa. Completion percentage about the same, but the passing yards, a giant leap in passing yards with Tampa Bay. 91 attempts going deep. That led the NFL. Pete notes in my ear. And a lot of those, and you saw the ones in the playoffs too, were clutch. Huge big time throws. Even the one in Green Bay where the guy's open the end of the half. That is on the money.
On the money. Clutch as hell. You're right. There's no doubt about it. Scotty Miller down the left sideline, dumbest defense we've ever seen, but that was still a great throw.
You still have to hit it, and he did in stride. Yeah.
He did. He hit so many big throws throughout the year. He did. And even having the guts, in the Green Bay game, there was a point where it might have been 14-10. It was like a 3rd and 15. He got a little pressure, and he threw a jump ball up to Chris Godwin down the middle. And Darnell Savage was back there in perfect spot, but Godwin got it. Old Brady wouldn't have done that. He'd have been, I'm not sure if that's going to be complete. I don't know. I don't know. But it's like, no, you got players here. Go, do it. So, listen, the stats, they're better, yes, because he was on a better team with more talent. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, his throwing was better. And from those 2019 stats, what people won't realize totally is there was a little bit more there to be had. That was always my argument in the 2019. There was a lot of, not, I don't want to say a lot, but always a handful of plays every game where I go, ooh, if he just hung in there, he's going to hit a 30-yarder. Ooh, if he just is a little more aggressive with his mindset here, the guy's he's got a go route down the right sideline, but he's already come off it and looked for a shorter route. Some of that is his team and his talent and lack of trust and those things, but to what you said, that hasn't been a strength of his, and that's where it's amazing. It's like he remade himself. It's like he had the pressure of Bruce Arians and Leftwich and no risk it, no biscuit. And he just battled through it to where he became the guy they wanted him to become, and that's where it wins you a Super Bowl.
So last thing, looking forward now, and we have Tom Brady's 2020. He had the most blank since, so touchdown passes, fewest interceptions. I think we have that graphic here, Kristen, of how good that was for Tom Brady last year. And he had a knee injury, too, we learned about. I don't know how significant it was, but significant enough to have offseason knee surgery. So you see his completions were his most since 2015. His touchdown passes were his most since 2007 when he threw for 50 touchdowns in that historic season with New England. Fewest or was that most interceptions or fewest?
It's the most he's had since
so more interceptions.
That's
so
good.
Throwing the ball. You're
it means
right.
they're more dangerous.
Risk it, biscuit.
Right.
So okay.
Game-winning drive. That's a surprising one. That 3 game-winning drives, the most he's had since 2013.
That's true.
That's actually that's maybe the most shocking stat there.
That's a good point.
But, listen, I like the 12 interception thing.
Sure.
You know me. You've heard me say that before. If he threw 4 interception, 5 interception, he's not being aggressive enough.
Yeah.
Their offense, it's going to lend itself to a few of those picks because just the way they play, the coach, everything about it, you got to take a few chances every now and then. Just go, oh, man, he's not open, but he's Mike Evans. I'm going to throw it and see if he can make a play. That can lead to interceptions at times.
So the question is, we just showed that graphic. Will we ever show that graphic again? Like, can he surpass what he did this past year next year? Maybe a little bit healthier, has the band back together, familiarity, but it all went so well.
I know.
Last year.
Touchdown passes, I could see him challenging that.
Okay.
I can. I don't think they'll. I would think that they're not going to want him to throw the ball as much as he did. I would think that they have found the way of balance and running and max protection. But
what about just level of play? Now, outside of the numbers, like level of play at 44 years old next year, can he be better than what he just was?
I'm not going to say better, but I think he'd be just right there as good.
He can do it. You didn't see a drop-off because that's what we're looking for. It's like at some point, humans drop off. But there's no indication that's coming for Tom Brady.
The only drop off is something anybody that's been listening, you've heard me say this, is just again his weakest moments, his worst plays are all the same thing. It's blitz, it's pressure. He doesn't want to stand there and get crushed, and he bails out. We can go to the Green Bay 3 interceptions at the in the third quarter, fourth quarter.
Those were not good interceptions.
Yeah, they're not good ones. Really, if you go to Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season, it's all blitz. Like, oh gosh, I got to throw it away. Same thing. You really look at any of his interceptions. I know everybody's not great under pressure, but like his is a little more where it's like, hey, I'm 43. I don't want to get hit. Get the ball out of my hands. I want to survive here. That's the only sign of slippage you see, and that's normal, and it's not to a point yet where I'm going, whoa, it's concerning. He's really affecting his team by doing that. No, so it's amazing what we're seeing.
Getting a little older, maybe forgetful on the down every once in a while, but very rarely does that happen to Tom Brady. So Tom Brady 10, people are going to look at that and be like, why do you hate Tom Brady? They're not going to have listened to what you just said here, which was 99% positive about the most accomplished quarterback that we will probably ever see, and it's getting you choked up at this point.
Yeah,
like
very.
You're starting to get emotional about this.
You're funny. It is the most accomplished quarterback we've ever seen. There's no doubt about that. And he's, you know it. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest. I get it. You're not going to hear me say he's the greatest, but damn, he's good. Damn, I love watching him. Damn, I respect his approach. I love his edginess. I love how he talks shit to people still before games and, let's go and all that. I love it. I really do. So keep going. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You're a great quarterback, but Chris would take 9 quarterbacks before you if he had his pick.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.